Welcome to Lifestyle Balance, and in this episode we'll travel south from Richards Bay down the coast towards East London. We'll stop there for a few days, move on around the Cape of Agulhas, the most southern point of Africa. When we arrive in Simonstown, which is a very beautiful place, it's quite windy. We have trouble retrieving our anchor. Stick with us while we manage to get that back up and on board again. We're actually sitting off the Zululand Yacht Club at Richards Bay. It's blowing between 18 and 20, gusting 25. Earlier today we had like 28, but we're sort of hanging in the anchorage here. It's quite a soupy bottom, so we're quite happy that we are holding very well. Bit nervous, to be honest. At 8 p.m. tonight it should settle down. That aside, we're planning on leaving Richards Bay on Wednesday, 2 days away. We don't want anything from the southwest, which is what we've got now. It's supposed to turn east, southeast, and into the northeast. So we should have a good run down to East London, which we plan to do in about 2 days. It takes about 2 days to get there. But anyway, that's the plan for now. And while it's blowing a gale and I'm on anchor watch, I'm having a red wine. No cup of tea this time.
Let's see the weather.
Now that our weather window is looking good for a departure from Richards Bay, we move out into the current. Now that current runs south at about 4 knots. This is a big advantage. It gives us speeds over ground of around 11, 12 knots. We have a good run to East London.
Good morning.
Good morning. Leaving Richards Bay. Very light winds. Sea state, a little bit confused, but not too bad. We haven't had strong winds overnight. We're hoping the sea breeze comes in, or at least a northeasterly. So yeah, hopefully East London in 2 days' time. Okay, we need to put a bit more tension on the luff on the head sail. It's got a little bit of soft luff on it. That's good if you're off the wind, but we're a little bit pressed on the wind. So we're going to be tensioning that up now. Okay, the headsail now has a better shape for on the wind sailing. Not much wind here at the moment, but it is going to increase during the day. I'm about to have lunch, but unfortunately somebody's not feeling too well.
Yes, unfortunately, I am very seasick.
We are presently 10 miles from Durban, but we're 25 miles out to sea. We're in the current that runs southwest. It runs at about 4 knots. Doing speed over ground between 12 and 13. We're doing pretty good. These clouds tell us that there's a change in the wind coming. They flow from one direction and then move back in the other. A lot of people call these mare's tails. They're a sign of a change in the wind direction. There's one big advantage along this coastline from Richards Bay down to Port Elizabeth. There's a current. Now that current can run anywhere between 5 and 3 knots depending where you are in the current. So it's a good idea to download some of the models, the weather models, to find where those currents are, work it in with your wind, and then get on that weather window. What you don't want to have is a wind against current situation. You get 25-30 knots from the southwest against the current that runs down this coast. Stand-up waves, very, very uncomfortable. So So you've got to get it right. The windows can be small, and you just get from A to B, jump in, get some protection at one of the harbours. We've been very fortunate on picking this weather window. It's long enough to get us to East London. It's been very smooth sailing, with the current giving us a boost of 10 to 12 knots of average boat speed, with winds of 15 knots, sort of on a beam reach. So the nighttime passage was comfortable. The daytime, as you can see, is very comfortable. Right now, we're doing 11 knots.
Time to make going.
To get everything balanced and also go in the right direction, so we've got wind not quite playing the game, but we're going to make it. We've arrived at East London. This is our greeting party. They heard we were coming. They've come out in droves to welcome us to East London.
The word problem, but I know that I want to find fish and chips.
We're going to have some fish and chips, are we, Lassie?
Yes, just forget the word problem.
Okay. You have to admit that the fish and chips here were really good. I think it has something to do with cold water fish. Anyway, we enjoyed our meal, and I had to be careful because Laddie loved the fish and chips so much that I was going to end up with just the lemons. We had a bit of a challenge getting onto the mooring lines. A little bit of current, not much wind, but not a lot of room between. We had to do a bit of tweaking so that those buoys at each end didn't bang into the boat. They were made of steel, but we did fit in, and now we're safe from any strong squalls that may come up the river. The river being Buffalo River. Very nice.
Okay, do it.
Thanks for my lemon tea, Laddie. I'm just going to have a little look outside. It's quite cool. We're really warm inside the boat because we've got all these windows and the sun's just coming in and warming up the inside of the boat. Living in the tropics for so long, we've gotten a little bit soft, but just going outside. Oh yeah, I think I'll stay inside. It's cold. I'm just going to leave that closed for a while. Maybe in another hour would be a good idea. Lemon tea time. That would work for me.
What is that? Is your father send you something, Todd?
You know, that looks like a helicopter, Laddie. I think he sent us a Christmas present. Thanks, Dad.
Tell me where we're going again?
Okay, we have to move this yacht off our bows. The little tender that's pushing it around only had a 2 horsepower motor, not quite strong enough with the current, so we got our tender down and we helped these guys get back on their mooring. all was good. Every night the birds roost on this particular boat. One day we noticed that there was plants growing out of it. That's what happens with guano, bird doo-doo, and a few seeds blowing in. Now they have a lovely garden in the cockpit.
Listen to it.
That's there on purpose.
Oh my goodness. We could hear you coming.
And when you have the next bag up, and it puts the fear of you into others.
David's brought us a bottle of gin because he's suggested that we celebrate when we get to Simonstown. So this is going to be great. Appreciate it. Have a safe sail. A safe sail, definitely a safe sail.
Station calling is London, Port Control. This is Port Control, Tamake.
Port Control, this is sailing vessel gone surfing, 2 POB on board, departing from East London to Simontown, requesting permission to exit. Over.
Are you a yacht?
We are a yacht, yes.
The name of the yacht?
Sailing vessel gone surfing. I say again, sailing vessel gone surfing. Flight plan was lodged yesterday at 18:30. Over.
What is the next port of call?
Say again.
Next port of call?
Next port of call is Simonstown.
Or receive you may proceed.
Thank you again. Have a good day. Cheers.
Now
We're out
Free.
here. We're disconnected from the mooring at East London. Looking at moving through the channel here out into the sea, hopefully with northeasterlies around about 18 knots from the east to northeast, heading for Simonstown. 2 hours, what have we got? 2 days, sorry, 2 days and a half. 60 hours, 65 hours.
we're heading off on the full moons. Quite nice.
Interesting name. Well, this morning it was a lot cooler, but as you see, I've stripped off a few layers, feeling a bit warmer, and we've finally got some wind out here. Earlier was no wind, very light wind, but now we're getting about 15 knots from the northeast. We got a full main up and a headsail, moving along quite comfortably. The sea state a little bit sloppy, but we're not doing too bad now. It's starting to even out. We're in the current, heading toward Port Elizabeth. We'll be abeam that early tomorrow morning, and then onward to Simontown. We've got to get around Agulhas, the Cape of Agulhas, where the Atlantic meets the Indian Ocean. We'll be saying goodbye to the Indian Ocean. It will be behind us, and we'll be moving on towards the Atlantic. That could be a new adventure. Got wing on wing. Kind of. Need to come up a bit more. Maybe. Oh. Hold this in place. Stop the mainsail from crash jibing. We are wing on wing, doing the balancing act, running down the waves. Sometimes the boom on the main goes boom. So it's a bit of a delicate balance. We got it though, we're in the groove.
Ease away! Ease away! Okay, quickly, ease away! Very good. Ease away! Let it all go! Drop it! That's it, good job!
Okay, well we've spent nearly 12 hours sailing now. Probably only an average speed of about 8 to 10 knots, somewhere in there. I think we've got a good run. We've got following seas, we're in the current. We've got winds around about 20 knots, supposed to pick up tonight to about 25. We're going to have a good run tonight, just a heady only, keeping it simple, and we're still doing right now, we're still doing 10.4, 9.9, 11.2, it's on our little GPS there, so sort of surfing with it, very comfortable, very stable, very happy. The other thing that I found interesting on this chart was explosive dumping ground. It states here it's a caution area and depths up to 366 meters. Shells and containers of mustard gas have been discovered. Trawlers should take precautions in this area. The mustard gas and the artillery shells would have been dumped after World War II. It's good to do your homework and be ahead of the boat and what's coming up, and make sure you don't run into anything at night time. It's sort of hidden out there, but everything is pretty good so far. Somebody's decided to come up from downstairs from the main bedroom to get a little bit warmer in the sun up here on our day bed. I think you're going to continue sleeping, aren't you? It was a comfortable night last night. We ran with just a heady and about 16 knots of wind behind us. Sea state's pretty good. But other than that, it's morning on the second day. Go into our second day of sailing. Sunrise, had a cup of tea. We're ready to roll for the rest of the day. Doing 7 knots. When you're ready, that's it, no rush. Okay, ease away. Ease away. Good. Just the course now. All off. That's good. Wrap this through here. Jumps. out here, there's going to be a southeast wind change later tonight, maybe early hours of tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning being a Wednesday, we left on Monday. So yeah, with the southeast we can actually run a mainsail and a headsail, which will be a lot easier for driving, get us better speeds. At the moment we're just waddling down in a dead square run, just following seas. All is good. Okay, what we've got on the AIS system is, this is us in the middle here. These are all cargo ships, got quite a number of them. We've got a total of 12 targets. We're running with the flow. It's good to stick with the traffic. They're all running past us. And these guys are coming back down the other way. So these guys are going west at 270, 260 approximately. These big boys are doing up to 17 knots, 18 knots. They move out. We're doing 8 to 10s. And of course these guys coming the other way. So everyone's passing each other port to port, which is a really good thing to have with sailing or shipping. Port to port is a code that works for everybody. This is actually just a little navigation light, just to show everyone at night that this is sort of a bit of a traffic lane area, and that gives you an indication that we're in the right area for ships to pass each other. So, looking good. Moving forward. Okay, what we have here is, this is us on the GPS. This has gone surfing. Here we have a navigation is not recommended at Alphard's banks. This is 15.5 meters, so this actually breaks in a big swell. So they recommend do not navigate through here. There's a couple of wells there, but they're capped off. Traffic flow by this arrow heading through here, and that's our passage. And of course the traffic coming the other way, they recommend go down this side. Interesting, we have one gas well that is operating right here. There's a pipeline that runs underground to the mainland. Good traffic separation all throughout. We're doing okay. So we do have offshore gas platforms here with pipelines that run to the mainland. These are all submerged pipelines. But of course this is a gas derrick platform drilling the gas. Something else that's very interesting is that this is a submarine, little picture of a submarine. It is actually a submarine exercise area, military use practice area. So we might, see a submarine. I doubt it very much, but you must be aware of these things as you move through these areas.
Is Agulhas Cape. Ahead of us is the Atlantic Ocean. Behind us is the Indian Ocean. We are now crossing that line. Cape Agulhas behind us. Onward to the Atlantic. Pretty good. It's been a great ride. Thank you, Indian. And hello, Atlantis. Or is it Atlantic? I'm going to Atlantis.
We can keep it for soap cloud.
Trying to find a spot to anchor here out of the wind. Simonstown. Having slowed down in the night to arrive at Simonstown during daylight so we could see where we were anchoring or whether we could pick up a mooring, we had no phone contact with the people for the moorings, so we tried to anchor, but the kelp didn't help, as you saw. We then tried for a mooring, but that wasn't a good idea just to pick up any mooring. We didn't know what the loading capacity on these moorings were, so we went back to anchoring, and that's when our troubles started. This is what a wind generator sounds like in high winds. Certainly wakes you up at night. We call it the wind alarm. Here we go. We just turned her on. She'll start cranking up. That was a bit useless. Get in the wind. Come on. Just turned herself off. Too much power. With the strong winds and the wind generator on, we're fortunate to get a lot of amps going into the battery system. We arrived at Christmas Eve. It was quite windy that day, and we couldn't move to a mooring, so we waited it out. The second day, Christmas Day, was very windy. We knew we were locked onto something on the bottom. We had to wait out till Boxing Day, the 26th. And then we realized why we were so fixed to the bottom. We couldn't get the anchor up. You know that it's pretty windy when you're sitting at anchor and the windows are getting splashed with salt water. It's gusting over 40 out there. I'm glad I'm inside. What are you doing, lad? Are you warming up to go for a walk on the deck? Here we go, we're away now. Believe it or not, we're on anchor. One of the problems we have here in Simonstown is that we appear to be firmly locked to the bottom on something. Our anchor seems to be stuck. It was like 45 knots. It was kind of like a mooring. We couldn't get it up, but now we're trying to get it up, and it looks like the wind's filling in again. We had a little reprieve. Not looking good. We might have to stay here another day. Tomorrow's looking a lot calmer, so we might have to dive on it and see what's going on.
Okay.
We have been trapped on the boat for Christmas Day because of the large swells coming through here, the strong winds. Yeah, other than that, it's pleasant. Nobody's complaining. At least we know we weren't going to drag. Yeah, I'm trying now to get it off the bottom. We've pulled it up, we've dropped it, we've moved one way, we've moved the other. No, she's not coming up. There's something down there that is holding us very firmly. And it seems to be a bit like a cable or a chain, because it tends to come up and then bite, and then drop again as we lower it, and we can feel it, that it wants to be a movement thing. So it's not like we're locked onto a rock or an old wreck, a Spanish galleon full of coal. So, yeah, we're just going to have to wait this one out. I'll let this wind pass today, and then we'll do some diving.
Good.
Yeah, it's looking interestingly cold down there.
I'll jump first, you jump after me.
Maybe. Am I off this? We're moving.
Okay.
Can you see something?
Yes, anchor up. I see the anchor.
That's good.
I see the anchor.
Need a little bit of preparation. It looks like we've picked up an old mooring. We can just about get it to the surface, so it's not a deep dive, whereas the bottom here is 13 meters. I can make that, but staying down long enough to do some work at 13 meters without a tank, well, you know, if it's an easy fix, it'll be okay. But let's go and have a look at what we've got.
Todd is ready to get in the cold water first time in many years.
Cindy Lala. Oh yeah, she's a bit refreshing, shall we say.
Say hi to seals for me.
Yeah, the seals, I wish they'd dive on my anchor, but doesn't matter, I'll go down and have a look at it. Anyway, my first swim in Simontown, South Africa, basically Cape Town.
I go
Have a
out.
look.
I will go after you.
Okay, rope.
Yes?
Okay, what's happening down there is we've managed to hook the tip of the anchor right through the last link of a large mooring chain, and the tip is on the very last link. So now what I'm going to do, I've tied the rope to the chain, and then we're going to loosen, we'll take the tension up on the rope, and we're going to loosen our anchor, free it, loosen the chain, let the chain out, and then I'll be able to unhook that actual tip of the anchor that's gone through the eye of the chain.
Oh, I see. So unbelievable.
I'll fix that up. I'm going up now.
Okay.
We'll see you up on deck. It's an old mooring with a float on it.
Very good morning.
It's a good mooring. It's a good chain. It's a very good chain.
I see.
Yeah, the chain's in good condition. It hasn't had oxygen to it. So the chain is in really good condition, but it'd have to be dived on professionally in order to check that it was still attached to a good mooring block and all the other fittings were good. Holding us in 45 knots of wind, well, that tells me it's pretty strong, but I don't want to continue to test it. Let's go and pull it off. Now that we are comfortably on one of the moorings, here's one of our gin pouring outtakes, the gin that Dave gave us to celebrate when we arrived in Simonstown. Is that working out?
No,
What's the problem?
I don't like the way that you sit. I think I do better than you next time. And then opposite. How will you this like a woman? Not. Next time we do, not today. Okay, forget it. We shot. Oh,
If you enjoy our videos, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Also, click the like button and share this video with your friends. Hit the notification bell to receive the latest Lifestyle Balance episodes. Thank you again for sharing your time with us, and we hope you have a wonderful day.